Hello, Canada. Welcome back to another edition of the Canadian Citizen Journal. I'm your host, alias Tagay. Well, the Bloc has come out swinging, and media is doing what they do best, trying to protect the Liberal Party. Now, I've been talking and exposed how Election Canada was at fault for this ballot. And there's still only one that's come forward, and like I said, I believe this is a way larger problem than just the one ballot. It's just that one person actually peeled back the little sticker and realized what was going on. So once again, I'm just going to put it out there. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and get it out there for anybody who did have Elections Canada send them back any type of an envelope to double check and make sure we could be onto something here that nobody's really talking about. And we need to know. We need to know, is Elections Canada actually doing their job in a non-partisan, non-biased manner? Now, by this finality that they've put down, saying that, nope, the election's done, it's one seat win, and it's over, after doing the recount twice already on that, favoring the Liberals, it does seem curious. Now, the Bloc has come out and let's just say Yves is not happy. So we're going to deal with his little presser. We're going to also talk a little bit about what's going on with EB. This government, the NDP government, is so corrupt. I could sit here and play nothing but do an episode every day just on their question period and all of the reports through independent media, because mainstream there is protecting them as well. The NDP, the mainstream, right? They want that socialist power because that's how they make their money. So we're just going to deal on a couple little things that happen in the BC legislature. And then we're going to dabble onto Pierre Poilievre. And he actually did this. He let out this perfect little, we'll call it a pro-quip, that the media never even caught on to, but we'll deal with the rest of his presser as well. Let's just say when I was watching this, I actually recorded it and watched it 3 or 4 times. I laughed my butt off. It was hilarious. And then I'm going to do another episode right after on this secession issue. It's time to burn your Jan Arden CDs. This chick has gone completely loony. I'll get on to that, like I said, in the next episode, because I got some stories to tell you about some conversations that I've had with her, as well as a lot of other people. Anyways, moving on, let's deal with Yves Blanchette. This presser, and make sure you listen to the media carefully. Propaganda at their best.
With Prime Minister Carney, and how concerned are you about misinformation circulating about this riding?
I do not give a damn about misinformation. The situation is quite clear. The judge has established that the Bloc Quebecois would have lost the riding by 1 vote. The vote appeared in the hands of a citizen in a very clear fashion, and in that situation, the law requires the election to be done all over again in the riding of Terrebonne. This is what we expect. But since, I don't know what's the name in English of Election Canada, but since they cannot by themselves ask for the election to be repeated, we have to bring this situation in front of a judge in a court in order to do the election all over again.
Do you think that sets a precedent that you won't accept official election results from Elections Canada, and you're not willing to listen to the vote of the people when your party doesn't win?
I'm not getting into that. I'm sorry to rain on the spectacular parade, but this is not my mindset. There's a law. It appears clear. We have a...
Did you hear how she worded that? My God. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We have to end this propaganda. This is just ridiculous. Like, he's got to succeed. He's got to give up, even though there's proof Elections Canada screwed up. That this is your bought and paid for state propaganda. And pay very close attention to how mainstream media is portraying all of this. First, they're evading most of these questions because none of them went their way. They're bringing it up and they're not talking about the big picture. The big picture is the lady who found out that Elections Canada misprinted the address because they know this could lead to an entire country having a new election. If it's found that this happened in more than one place, that means there should be investigations. That means heads need to be hunted down. That means jobs need to be people need to be fired and held accountable. This is huge. This could be one of the largest electoral scams in probably a lot of countries' history, let alone Canada's. And he's not taking no crap.
Case, we go forward because we want this election to be held properly, and that's it.
Exactly. Properly.
What is the legal advice that you've been getting that makes you feel like you have a basis to make this contestation before a superior court?
All I just told you.
Have you spoken
That's
with
what I said.
No,
I will choose the answer.
But my colleague also just said that the law is the law, and it says that the law is there. Why do you think that you have a basis? What is the legal advice you're getting on this?
I have a legal advice by a lawyer, and we are going forward because the law is clear. It is not within the premise of Elections Canada. Too bad for them. There are options. We are taking options now.
Have you spoken with Prime Minister Carney? Have you spoken with
Monsieur Blanchet, à quel moment vous allez déposer cette contestation?
He's sure being polite about it too, but he's not holding back.
J'ai deux oreilles, puis vous êtes trop nombreux pour mes deux oreilles.
Sorry. In 2011, there is this legal precedent where the Liberals went all the way to Supreme Court against the Conservatives, and the Supreme Court ended up upholding the Conservative win in that case. So I guess I'm just wondering, in your legal advice, did this come up, and why do you think you do have a precedent to go forward here?
You will have to be patient about that kind of questions. There will be a person in the courtroom that will answer all of that in front of a judge, and I will not.
Votre niveau de confiance que ça fonctionne et que votre candidate soit élue à la fin.
Très élevé.
Madame Sinclair, est-ce qu'on peut...
just in English about your confidence in the institutions, including Elections Canada?
I won't allow myself to comment on my level of confidence of Elections Canada. We have a case that will be tabled in court, and the judges will decide.
What has it been like for you over the last couple of weeks since the election to go through all of this, understanding that at one point you were declared the winner and now you are not?
Of course, I mean, this expression has been used many times before. It's a roller coaster. Nevertheless, I'm lucky to be well surrounded, not only by my party, but also by peers, and the population that supports me is very confident in our case as well.
How quickly share some sort of timelines that we can expect here? What's the next steps in terms of your court case? When can we expect an update?
My leader just answered all these questions about the next steps.
Do you think this was wrongdoing, or was it incompetence?
Again, my leader just answered all these questions.
I don't think we got to ask him that. Do you think this was wrongdoing or incompetence?
He certainly didn't answer that question.
There may be wrongdoing without the intention of performing wrongdoing. It's, of course, a mistake, which has been admitted with the consequences of this admission.
Monsieur Blanchet, un mot sur Legault. Il a dit qu'il y a une ouverture des Québécois par
See
rapport
how
à
political he's being about it? He's doing such a good job. He has to watch what he says, of course, right? Because media is incredibly biased. And how they have propped up the Liberals. Now he's starting to see it. I think he had a wake-up call this election because he's realizing how corrupt 10 years of Liberals have made our country. The entire propaganda arm, we're talking about not one, not two, not three, we are talking about dozens of media outlets that are on the payroll. It's an absolute embarrassment to call ourselves a democracy with pretty much every single media outlet that belongs to the legacy mainstream is on state payroll. Not even Russia has this extreme amount of corruption in their media. This is bad. So I'm glad. It's too bad that the Liberals won, but this is a good thing because now the Bloc's going to wake up like they are, realizing, holy crap, what just happened? How could people have possibly voted for what happened in the last 10 years? How could they forget about things like the STTC scandal? I mean, this government has been truly, without a doubt, I mean, the evidence is there. It's in my previous videos. It's all over the internet. The most corrupt government in Canadian history. They've broken just about every darn rule that could possibly be broken, right to the top rule where the Prime Minister, for political purposes, purposely tried to change a law to create a new law to protect the most corrupt company in Canadian history, SNC-Lavalin. Like, that scandal alone this government should have fell. There should have been people in jail. There should have been charges. Nothing. Crickets. Why? Mainstream media. So it's good that he's waking up.
Êtes-vous de cet avis-là?
On pourrait discuter beaucoup.
Oh, I'll fast forward a little wee bit here. Lots of French.
Will you support the Liberals' proposed tax cut that they put forward?
I will first read what the law that it requires would say, but let me resume the whole situation. The government has presented what would be, in a cadre financier, the expected finances of
Budget?
the expected budget, but before the election, the cadre financier, I don't know how to translate that.
Like the cost of platform?
Yeah, the cost of the platform. And in the best of scenarios, people said, this is magic thinking. So based on that, they come afterwards.
See, and he pointed that out because there were only the Liberals were lying about their platform, saying, "Oh, how everybody like the Conservatives were out to lunch and it was impossible and blah blah blah, and the Blocs were impossible." And even the NDPs was fairly accostable. It was almost doable. There were a lot of gray areas that had a lot of economists concerned, but not like the Liberal platform. There wasn't a serious economist that looked at the Liberal platform and could make sense out of it. Every single real economist took 2 steps back and was shaking their head going, are you aware of what this will do to our country? Financially, it will ruin us, especially after the debt that the 10 years before that has done. And I'm going to say it one more time. The Liberals in 10 years have spent more money than all other prime ministers since the conception of Canada added together. Let that sink in. They more than doubled our entire national debt. And this new banker can't even put a budget together now, and he won't give us a budget. Why? Because he knows his platform is completely out to lunch. Full-fledged socialism, people. Welcome to a fascist government by a fascist propaganda machine. It's sad.
They do not depose a budget, table a budget, and which I could understand because they didn't have much time, and they don't even table economic update. So they gave as electoral gifts $4 billion to Canadians, but not 1 penny to Quebecers. And then they add to that $6 billion. So it's $10 billion added to the deficit in this very uncertain year in terms of public finances. And they will not even provide an explanation about how or what will be the consequences of such a choice. So one cannot only say, mostly if they expect, as we said we would, provide our collaboration, they must not expect the population or us to say, okay, do whatever you want, explain nothing, and we will let you go with it. We have a mandate, and our mandate is to shed light on what might be happening in terms of public finances in the coming months. So nothing very convincing has been done, said so far.
Was the recount completed? Do you know if the recount was completed by Elections Canada?
I'm sorry?
Was the recount completed by Elections Canada?
A judge made the recount.
So every ballot was counted?
That's what's supposed to have happened.
Est-ce que ça influence votre prise de position sur une possible réforme?
Oh, the media, they're trying really hard, but they're not succeeding. This guy is suave. He is, I'm telling you, he's a well-greased machine when it comes to politics. And I said it before. He has screwed Canada so many times for his own province. He's the Trump of Quebec. He doesn't care about any other province. He doesn't care. All he cares about is Quebec. So if you actually think about it, that makes him one hell of a great premier. It's just too bad that our country is supposed to be a confederation. It's supposed to be a bunch of provinces that work together to protect each other and blah, blah, blah. This is just more proof on why Saskatchewan and Alberta have to go. They got to leave. Run. You got to get out of here, which I'm going to do another episode on with Preston Manning. We got a couple other things, and of course Jana Arden, losing her. She's one of the most vile people. I'm telling you, a lot of people aren't aware. She's got derangement. She's got serious issues upstairs. Like I said, I'm going to deal with that on the next episode. Craziness. Let's move on here to the Conservatives now, because they're pretty much saying the same thing. But this earlier little clip, I have to show you. The media never caught it. But it's there. It's funny. Let's listen.
Thank you very much, everyone. As I was just saying, and I walked in, I saw some of these incredible stonemasons. They're a very rare breed these days who can do this kind of work. It's intricate work, it's hard work, but it's necessary work to keep the foundations and the walls standing. And that is the case. Oh, there goes the microphone. Normally I'd say I never met a mic I didn't like, but that one's my favorite. Is that yours?
No, it's not. I'm just helping someone else.
Okay, that's nice of you.
I am.
You guys all get along and collaborate nicely, eh? Thank you.
And nobody there caught it. Nobody there caught it. Pierre, I think he's back. They finally cut the reins and let him go. That was hilarious. I can listen to it one more time. It's absolutely hilarious.
Is that yours?
No, it's not. I'm just helping someone else.
Okay, that's nice of you.
I am.
You guys all get along and collaborate nicely, eh?
Collaborate nicely, eh?
That's the kind of intricate, hard work that we have to do as parliamentarians to protect our economy, and that takes a plan. A plan to reverse the Liberal housing crisis, a plan to reverse the Liberal inflation crisis, a plan to reverse the Liberal jobs and economic growth crisis, a plan to stand up against American tariffs. And that plan always comes in the form of a budget. A budget determines and informs Canadians of the size of the debt and the deficit, of the future interest rate and inflation costs, of the tax policies that determine whether companies hire or fire employees, of the laws that allow us to or block us from building major infrastructure projects that will create jobs and make us more independent from the Americans who are threatening us with tariffs. Now, Mr. Carney said during the election campaign that he had a plan, and he took great delight in saying that a slogan is not a plan. Well, a budget is a plan, and if he does indeed have a plan, if he does know what he's doing, then he would introduce a budget so that Canadians know exactly what the finances are. We were very disappointed yesterday to hear that he has no budget plan for this year. This makes it the longest period without a budget since the 60s, the first time there has not been a budget outside of COVID in over 20 years. Extremely unusual. It'll send a bad signal to investors and ratings agencies, and a lot of people will wonder what the Liberal government is hiding about our finances. And so we're here with solutions. I'm proposing offering the Prime Minister to sit down with him and propose conservative solutions that we hope that he will steal. I want him to steal our best ideas. That includes cutting the bureaucracy, consultants, foreign aid, and other wasteful spending to bring down deficits, inflation, and taxes. We want a real income tax cut that rewards hard work, axe the federal sales tax on new homes to promote more building and lower costs, and stand up against American tariffs with lower taxes on Canadian investment and by repealing all of the anti-energy policies like C-69, C-48, the energy cap, the electric vehicle mandate, and unleashing our resources so that we can become the richest country in the world. Now, these are ideas that Conservatives are putting forward, but I'm happy to bring them right to the Prime Minister's desk and invite him to steal them and put them right in his platform. And if he does, then we will help get those passed before Canada Day. So let's work together, let's have a real plan, a real budget, and let's bring it home. Thank you very much.
Now, he's absolutely right. And again, previous episodes, I've shown you why Trump wanted the Liberals in power. It will literally help. It'll turbo boost what Trump is after, which is literally keep our oil landlocked, keep our resources in the ground so that they can use Alaska and the discovery with the ANWR in order to take all of the financial gains that Canada should have had 8 years ago. Every single aspect of the Liberal Party benefits what Trump wants. Companies fleeing to the States, investments fleeing to the States, their dollar strong, our dollar weak. They would prefer us to be Mexico, locked in by a green global cabal, a completely insane religion of green zealots. Whereas Poilievre was the cure to what Canada needed. Not only would it have helped keep, I won't say that the separatist movement still wouldn't have been there. They would. They've been there for decades. But it wouldn't have been what it is today, where there's going to be a referendum. And by the way, it's looking like we're gone. It's looking like we're gone. So yay! About time. Moving on.
Yes,
Helen, CBC Radio.
Yes.
If the Liberals do not put forward a budget, they don't indicate that they're going to do that in the coming weeks, will you support their tax cut?
I have to see what they're proposing.
Now you notice how the media is asking him the same question? Are you going to kiss Carney's ring? Are you? This guy is supposed to be a banker. He's supposed to be good with numbers, and he can't make a budget work when it's the same party that's been in power for 10 years. How is that even possible? It's not like he's incompetent. I mean, he's supposed to be this Harvard-trained, super banker, super financier. So that tells you right there, he's up to no good. They're up to no good. They don't care about you. All they care about is their multi-billionaire global cabal and shareholders. That's all they care about. They're going to finish Canada off.
So far in the election campaign, they proposed a very small, very small savings. We think it should be...
I think it comes to $32 per adult. It's like $60 a household, $800 a year. It's peanuts. And I'm going to show you here in a few minutes that you don't even have that yet because it hasn't been passed through the legislature. It's already going to be gone. You're going to spend more than that in the next month and a half on groceries per person than you'll ever get back.
A big savings. Canadians are vastly overtaxed after the last decade of Liberals. Right now, Canadians spend more on income tax, sales tax, and other taxes than they do on food, clothing, and shelter combined. So in our view, any tax cut is a good tax cut. But we always have to remember that there's a difference between what Liberals say and what Liberals do. So let's see what they do, and then I'll tell you what we'll do.
Right now the plan is to have a 1% reduction of the lowest marginal tax rate, not too different from what the Conservatives were proposing on the election campaign.
Well,
if that is what is proposed and is what goes on paper in the Ways and Means motion, would the Conservatives support that, yes or no?
I never answer questions that start with if. We'll see what they do. But we support tax cuts. We are the party of tax cuts. And I've been talking about income tax cuts for years now. Our proposal was a 15% income tax cut for the average worker and senior that would save a couple up to $2,000. And we think that is the right way to go. But we'll always work with other parties to cut taxes for Canadians because we believe that a dollar left in the hands of the person who earned it, including all of you, is better than a dollar in the hands of the politician or bureaucrat who taxed it.
And he's got one more little quip.
Yeah.
Mr. Poilievre, is Stephen Guilbeault a threat to national unity in his current role as Minister of National Identity and Quebec Lieutenant?
Yes, he is. Absolutely. I mean, I just find it astonishing that Mr. Carney would appoint a man who says we don't need any pipelines built. The Liberals went around the country pretending they had changed their minds about pipelines after 10 years of blocking them. But now one of Mr. Carney's top ministers comes out and says we don't need any more pipelines and that he would work to block those pipelines. He wants to block road construction. He's against nuclear power. He's against all forms of economic development. And that will be bad for the entire country, to be clear, but especially antagonistic to the resource-producing provinces like Saskatchewan and Alberta, who rightly feel that they have been mistreated by this lost Liberal decade. So what we see, we have Mr. Guilbeault, who wants to block resource development. We have Sean Fraser, who created the immigration crisis and then the housing crisis. A new housing minister yesterday who says he doesn't want housing costs to go down. Presumably he wants them to go up like they did when he nearly tripled them as mayor of Vancouver. So what we're seeing is that in the last 48 hours of this Liberal government is looking a lot like the last 10 years of the Liberal government. What we need is a real change, a change so that we can bring home the country that we knew and loved, so that anyone who works hard gets a powerful paycheck, they can live in a nice, affordable home on a safe street, and we as Conservatives will work with anyone to bring home that Canada. Thank you very much.
Well said, Pierre. Well said. Now, about that whole supposed 1% you're supposed to get back, say goodbye to any savings that Carney said he's going to give you, because guess what? He's taking tariff money. Yeah, and do you think he's going to give that back to you? No. It's going to go in their coffers, and they're going to put it down in order to invest in more green energy that is failing all around the world, like the EV sector is.
Products are about to get more expensive at his stores as pre-tariff inventory runs out. To discuss this and how small grocers are managing rising costs is Gary Sands, Senior Vice President of the Canadian Federation of Independent Grocers. Good morning, Gary. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, and glad to join you.
So big chains like Loblaws are able to stockpile product, of course, while most independent grocers don't have that option because of their size. So because they may not have had as much pre-tariff inventory, does that mean that they're already being forced to raise their prices?
In many cases, yes, they are. We're seeing that right across the country. It's going to become more pronounced in the weeks ahead, for sure. I mean, even for the independents, there's been a lot of inventory that they've been able, pre-tariff inventory that they've been able to sit on. But everything runs out, and now we're going to be seeing a lot of very popular and well-known products that unfortunately consumers are just going to have to buckle up and are going to be paying more for.
Yeah, Gary, let's talk about those products. What items are we seeing in terms of the biggest cost increases at the grocery store?
Well, they'll all be subjected to the 25% counter tariff. So some of those would be things like orange juice, tomatoes, nuts, citrus fruits, coffee, tea, peanut butter, spices such as vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, chocolate, pasta, wine, if it's still carried by the provincial wine outlets. Tobacco is another one. A lot of beauty products too, Jason. Shaving cream, deodorants, shampoos. Those are some of the things that just come to top of mind for me that consumers should be expecting to pay more for.
Yeah, so say if some consumer's budget is $100 for groceries a week, are we talking $150 now? What do you think? How steep will it be?
It's really hard to say, because what is happening right now is that grocers, both chain and independents, are trying to source alternative products from alternative jurisdictions, Mexico, South America, Europe. It's a scramble right now. What I just would let your listeners know that, for decades now, we've been on a north-south supply chain, and that's been very dependable. It's worked very well. It doesn't work anymore. The trust factor is gone. And there's no doubt that we have to orient ourselves to an east-west supply chain. But that's going to require some investments, and Canadians, both governments and the Canadian people, are going to have to accept that. We're going to have to be looking at making investments in our infrastructure, distribution, transportation. This is a big country. There's a lot of communities in Canada and British Columbia that are rural and remote, and some Indigenous. And we have to ensure that as we change that east-west supply chain axis, that we're ensuring that goods from these other jurisdictions and from within Canada are able to get to those communities at relatively affordable prices. So again,
okay, so we're going to straighten something out here right away, okay? It costs more money to grow a tomato in Canada than it does to grow it in the States, ship it up here, and put 25% tariffs on, because of the green cabal, because of all of the carbon taxes, and they're about to go up. So even with a 25% tariff across the board, American products are going to be cheaper than what we can produce them for here in Canada. Previous episodes, I've discussed this. And this guy, he's and oh, well, it's this, and well, and then it's going to be this. Previous episodes, I actually show and give you the links on the thousands upon thousands, everything from shampoo, processed meat, raw meat, chicken, you name it. Pretty much anything and everything you put in your mouth, wash your body with, brush your teeth with, all of it, Carney has tariffed. That's your government that's tariffed it. All because Trump put a tariff on the aluminum, steel, auto sector, and softwood, and a minuscule tax on oil that they're still buying. Now, he wants to shut our oil in. He wants to make sure that he can buy our oil at a discount. Trump doesn't give a crap about Canada. He's a great president in the States. He's not a great president for anybody else around the world. All he cares about is America. And all our government cares about is their cabal of investors and this fake green crap that they're pushing down everybody's throats. So everything this guy is saying is kind of a twisted version of the reality. The reality is the re-election of the Liberal Party has guaranteed our productivity is going to free fall. And it's already on a downhill trend. Nobody can produce things. It's too expensive. It takes way too much work, and we pay way too much taxes on the end of the day. Nobody wants to invest in business when there's too much uncertainty. Businesses are already fleeing. Again, previous episodes. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. This is all ridiculous. This is mainstream media trying to make it out to seem like this is an American tariff. It's not an American tariff. They outright don't say the truth out loud. This is, like they say, tariffs leading to tariffs. This is Carney's tariffs. This is the Canadian government that is making life unaffordable in Canada. They don't need these tariffs. What they need is to do exactly what Pierre Poilievre just said, which is get rid of all of this crazy regulation and baloney carbon crap. Get rid of it. You would drop you would bring back production. You would increase the viability of companies wanting to invest here. You would give back more to the person so that they could actually have heat and eat. Everything that's wrong with our country is because of the 10 years of the Liberal government, that the mainstream media, the propaganda arm, convinced a lot of very simple people, lazy people, and people who have no idea on how to get away from this bubble, this propaganda bubble, to re-elect him again. We're in trouble. We are in big trouble here. Scary times. Now, we're going to move on to Eby. This guy is so corrupt. I was going through to pick out a couple little things that are kind of pertaining, especially the corruption, the Chinese Communist government, how it's infiltrated into his party. And I'm telling you, every day he's getting bombarded. If it isn't his health ministers, the certain lawyers that are working that are involved with the safe supply or the food or the housing or every single aspect of the NDP government in BC is corrupt. It's out of control. And again, where's BC media? And the craziest part is when I'm watching these live streams, when I've got them playing, I mean, BC's got how many millions of people? How come there's only like 30 people watching it? Do they not care? Do they not, are people that removed from democracy to understand that they can literally go there and look and see the lies that the NDP do? How they evade questions? Wow, I think our education system has a lot to do with this. We're going to start off with this first little clip here. This is with the CCP interference. Craziness. It's just crazy.
Reports by investigative journalist Sam Cooper and others suggest that state actors in China are collaborating with transnational organized crime syndicates to use Canadian banks and Vancouver real estate to launder the proceeds of crime. This has resulted in highly inflated BC housing prices and has fueled the production and distribution of fentanyl within BC and far beyond. My question to the Premier himself is this: has he been advised officially or unofficially of any known or suspected state actor influence within his party?
Now, this question was a setup because he was informed. Sam Cooper knows a lot of people. And like I've exposed on previous episodes, Eby was informed by a lot of people who Sam Cooper know. And if I remember correctly, I'm going to have to go back and double check. I've got lots of files on this stuff. I way too much for my head to just remember every little thing. But if I do remember right, Eby actually put it right out there, trying to let Eby know. Like, Sam was trying to say, hey, like, you guys, you've been infiltrated. So this is a setup. Eby knew.
Solicitor General. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you to the member opposite for the question. It's been well established that laundering and organized crime fuel the toxic drug crisis and violence on our streets in British Columbia. While we're doing that job, which is fighting the toxic drug crisis by building more options for addicts, we're combating criminals who are making and trafficking deadly drugs. We've made the largest investment in policing in our province's history, $230 million to hire 256 more police officers. We are filling vacancies in rural police detachments and hiring additional officers in units like major crime. We've created a new integrated gang homicide team, which is improving intelligence coordination related to gang activities. We will continue to go after organized crime and punish all those who profit from it.
So I didn't answer the question.
Member supplemental.
With all due respect, the question was for the Premier, and it was reference to foreign influence within his party. The Premier must be aware that the United Front Workforce Department was identified in the Canadian inquiry into election interference as a CCP affiliate that has active influence operations targeting politicians within Canada and also right here in British Columbia.
By the way, all 11 have been re-elected. The Liberal Party. This is how bad. Canada is in such bad shape. Mainstream. If they were talking about this, we could end this just by knowledge. If people knew, they wouldn't have elected a Liberal government. But mainstream media, propaganda arm. This is why I have to keep saying it over and over, and I know you probably get tired of it, but make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You got to get the word out.
Last year, in a press conference, reports surfaced that Ding Guo, an advisor to the Premier, had attended a meeting with officials of this group. Would the Premier himself please describe his relationship with Mr. Guo and explain why he approved a grant of $20,000 to his organization?
Mr. Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The member asks whether I've been advised about Ding Guo or any other individual in our party being the target of foreign interference. Now, I have repeatedly asked the federal government and CSIS for the full authority to be briefed on any concerns related to any issues that I should know about as Premier. It's been a long and frustrating journey. It's required amendments to the CSIS Act federally that were finally made. I'd say that the briefings that I've received since then have been only more frustrating. If I received any information about any member of our party who was facilitating foreign interference, I would immediately remove that individual. If we were having interactions with individuals that CSIS advised me were attempting to promote foreign interference, we would cease any and all contact with those individuals, and we would cooperate with any investigation that was required. Provide that assurance to you and to the entire House. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Now, if he was serious, which he's not, and if he was truthful, which he's not, and if he really cared about democracy in Canada, which he's not, he would have made the statements that we need to make sure the Liberal Party does not get elected again because they're so compromised. And he has good excuse, theoretically, if this is what he's saying, how the federal government is actually withholding information from him. And the frustration he's having, the frustration with the Liberal Party. Then why did you help promote the Liberal Party to win? He's a puppet. He's involved. He's corrupt. BC, you need to wake up. And I sure hope Northern BC numbers keep growing on the separatist agenda, because that province needs to be fixed as well. And the only way to fix it is to get out of this federation. Independence, the wealth, the democracy, the accountability that'll come from independence will shock people. Now, I'm just going to play one more little clip. This is from today in the Legislature.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Even though the Premier didn't answer the question, the Premier at one point was a champion of whistleblower protection law, promising government employees would be safe from retaliation for exposing wrongdoing. Yet, when the leak revealed that the criminal diversion of safe supply drugs leading to an apparent policy reversal, a police probe into the source was launched. This government is actively trying to put a chill on anybody who speaks out against them. So, to the Premier, does the Premier really honestly think that the public would believe that his police services director acted independently? And can he confirm that no direction was given to the police service director by anyone from his office or anyone from any of his ministers' offices?
Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The director acted independently, as is required under the statute that he acted under. The police, in doing the investigation, are acting independently. I canvassed to try to understand whether we were able to intervene in this ongoing investigation and to say that resources would be better directed elsewhere, and was advised that we are not able to. Police are independently doing this investigation, and I'll just correct the member that we did not direct this investigation. This was initiated independently. It's being conducted independently by the RCMP.
Member for Abbotsford South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Last summer, a Victoria firefighter was disciplined for writing an open letter about the public safety crisis occurring just steps from this very legislature. The Premier said then, and I quote, "If someone gets in trouble for bringing me that information, I'm going to stand up for them, and I'm say, yes, bring me the truth from the street that you see, and that will help me be a more effective representative for you."
I'll post the link like I always do. I always post everything in my description. I am one of the rarities. But I do this to make sure that all of my viewers know I am not clipping and trying to change what people say. All the information's there, and it also just gives me validity. Now, this goes on and on and on. This is every day in BC. It's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 6, it's not 10, it's not a dozen. It's just an endless amount of corruption in the NDP. They still haven't even dug down and exposed their election interference and fraud that happened. Whatever happened to the care home? Were people fired? Well, if media doesn't do their job, then it's easy to be buried under the rug. This is why I need you to like, share, and subscribe. Pressure can only be put on these agencies to do the right thing if people are aware of it, because then they will start calling their MLAs. They will actually try to make a difference and fix the course direction. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I've got another one I'm going to roll out here in the next hour or two. I'm just kind of finishing up the file. It deals with the psycho Jan Arden, Western independence, and just a lot of stuff that's kind of been coming out here with the independence movement. And by the way, watching the media, and I warned about this in previous episodes, start ramping up. Normally Saskatchewan and Alberta, they never get mentioned. I mean, they were even skipping across Saskatchewan when with weather for years, until enough people were calling and complaining to CBC, and then all of a sudden, they wouldn't skip us anymore, and they give us a couple cities, and then a little bit more complaints, and then all of a sudden a little bit more weather, and then that dwindled right back down, and I think they say Regina or Saskatoon. They don't care. CBC don't care. But now that independence is on the table and the numbers are skyrocketing, they're trying every which way to demonize Moe and Smith. We're going to dabble on that on the next episode. Until the next time, you've been watching the Canadian Citizen Journal. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you are, punch that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. I'm Alias Tagai. Stay informed.